Okay, we are live and we're live here. Mike, can you hear me all right?
Hey Scott, yeah, I can hear you fine.
Cool. All right, cool. Awesome. Well, we are live on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook on our company pages and on the Military Retirement Blueprint YouTube channel. We're going to start doing this on a more regular basis. So you've probably seen me do the Take an Ease with Mike Wallace and talk about the military transition, opportunities and everything going on in that space. But we want to get into more of the case studies and kind of what we do on the financial side of things, because ultimately it's all about money. The whole military transition process is, how do we get you a job to replace income? What's your pension going to be? What are your, how much do you save for the future? It's all about getting, doing something with your money. And specifically, from our perspective, it's about income. So we're going to start having, we'll call these like micro demo sessions or a war chest demo session, something like that. But we already got a video like from Tia. How about
Tia
that?
Prevo?
Yeah, it's
Hey
just so
Tia.
funny that we know that Tia, you ran into Mike the other day. That was just super small world. So we're gonna kind of. I got a whole new program about the war chest coming out. Multiple modules to explain the benefits of not just replacing SBP or what do I do with TSP, but more specifically, and this is just what we hear from the type of the caliber, as Mike Wallace says, the caliber of individuals. I say high performers. If you're a high performing leader in the military, we're expecting you to probably do well on the outside in the next 10 years. And hey, you're not going to see it until it starts entering your bank account about month 3 or 4 after you retire and you get that first job. But the numbers start adding up in the bank accounts, and the problem is, well, what do I do with it? But the question people have really is, how do I use it? Like, meaning, how do I retire earlier? Or can I just retire earlier than I would have as an average American? Like, that was the whole point of serving in the military, to get the benefits. And, we want to help you have the confidence and the knowledge of knowing that you can do that. And we think, unfortunately, a lot of retirees leave the opportunity to do that on the table when they just go through the cookie cutter approach of military retirement. And so, again, we never say there's any right or wrong. There are just options. And we've discovered, and having, our experiences, I've been doing this for 15 years. I've talked to over 500 military retiring families. So while I actually didn't go through military retirement myself, my situation and perspective is that I've watched it from the outside very closely and very intimately. We're talking about money and stuff, just hundreds of times at this point. And so I've seen similar things come up and just started to find better ways to maybe deal with it. And so, Mike, I can barely hear him. It's fine, but if you want to mute, you can do that as well.
Okay,
While
yeah.
there's people moving around, yeah, no big deal.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's not a big deal.
Okay.
So anyway, so that's what this is all about. And the way we work is we're consultants in the financial industry. We're licensed financial professionals. And since we've got a niche solution, we just recognize that, hey, there's a knowledge gap. We can fill that knowledge gap. And, as veterans ourselves, or Mike, who I'll introduce in a minute, is a Navy brat himself. Father was career military. So, and then my wife was a Gold Star daughter. So we've seen this all from many angles. And even my mother was a retiree. My grandfather was a military retiree. So I've seen, my grandmother live off of SBP, right? So we're not against this stuff. Like SBP, helped out Jen when her father died, but wasn't enough. Didn't solve the problem. So we take all these things into account. We recognize there's a lot of emotions. There's limited time. So our goal is to share all this knowledge for free, and help you out. And then some of you, it'll make sense to talk with us more about our strategies and working with us, and we'll let you know if you want to talk with us more about how to do that. But we're going to show you examples. So we'll be jumping in kind of in the middle, directly into a case study scenario right now. We want to show some numbers. That's what people keep on asking us about. So I'll breeze through a couple quick slides just so we have kind of an idea of what we're talking about. Let me do it this way. Again, as I was saying, the traditional approach just doesn't take into account the fact that military retirees are in a high stressful time, even after the military, new career and stuff. It takes years, but you're still making a lot of money, or you're going to be. So the need to take the risks that you typically take in building a retirement nest egg, and Mike's going to talk to this, what you ask people, what's the point of the nest egg? I don't know, make it bigger, lower costs, have better performance. Like, okay, then what? And there was never a good answer, at least when I was in the industry and what I've seen over the years. So that's why our philosophy and our strategy that we've created is not about, financial independence. That's vague. This is all about income, as we said earlier. So we're going for income independence. Well, what does that mean? That means avoiding costs, avoiding risks, avoiding taxes. Essentially, we're trying to duplicate a private pension, duplicate your military pension with a private pension. Isn't that the whole point? To create more sources of income that you can guarantee for life. So that's what we're going to talk about. And I'll be getting in, again, in our programs that are coming out. We'll get into all this stuff in more detail and kind of why it's important. But the way we look at it is we know that there are some major risks, some that we can control, some that we can't control. The ones we can't control are what's going on in society. Like the demographic, like older people are living longer. That causes all sorts of changes in the insurance industry and costs and all that kind of stuff. They're also going to be leaving big inheritances. That has a thing. But younger people aren't working as much. There aren't enough of them to pay for the Social Security in the Medicare and Medicaid. So taxes are going to have to go up. So that's going to impact a lot of the stuff. And on the financial side of things, obviously taxes going up, that hurts that. Costs of managing money, market risks, when you actually want to use your money. And then on the health side of it, do you have health challenges that are going to impact your financial stuff? But that's what most people are thinking about when they think about health and money. But that's the wrong way to think about it. You're a military retiree. You're probably way healthier than the average American. And so if you're not getting rewarded for your health, that's a cost. And so that's a risk. So all this has to do with your money. Traditional approach has it all outsourced all over the place. You're constantly confused. You get a checkup once a year. What if there's a way for us to put this all in a box, a war chest, if you will, and take the risks you can't control off the table? Some of those demographic risks, some of the market risks that, hey, market's going to do what it's going to do. Government rules are going to change as they change, but can't control that. So if we take those risks off the table for you, then you can focus more on the military retirement questions. What do you really want to be doing with your life? And how do you make more money, right? And if you are healthier than you realize, there's a process to get qualified, to get rewarded for that. And so that's essentially what we do. We take care of that for you. So again, you can control making more money. In some regard, you can control your health. But we're going to take a lot of this off the table for you so you can focus on making more money and then, put it more into the war chest and so you can use it more later. So one aspect of our war chest is the defensive side of it. So we're going to talk about defensively protecting against the risks. Offensive protection of risk would mean like, hey, we got to protect against inflation. So we got to get growth. We got to go on offense. On defense, it's like we got to protect against the various losses out there. Might be taxes, but definitely stock market losses or running out of money, living too long, that kind of stuff. So our scenario today, a busy slide here, but just real briefly, we're going to be talking with a colonel. Actually, this is a client of ours. This is a real case study for us. But again, we're just going to dive into the defensive side. This is a colonel who did all the right things, so to speak, saving for retirement. Super healthy, was a pilot. Got checked up was required to keep health up. So we already took care of the SBP solution years ago, but came back saying, all right, stock market's been crazy, economy's crazy. It's been a few years. I have some more awareness on what my income is, which was a lot. He's making way more money than he realized. And so he said, hey, I don't have to take the risks. But because he was flying in deployment so many years, he saved it, so many deployments. he saved a ton of money in his thrift savings plan. And a lot of military pilots do this. So this might be you. He saved close to $800,000. So he said, what do I do with this? Like, I don't have to leave it in TSP anymore because I'm retired, so I can access it. But I he even has a financial professional who we work with and talk to. But he trusts the guy and loves it. But he just realized, like, oh, I don't need to put it at risk in the investment market. He's got other money, managed with that professional to do that, and that's cool. But for the money he can just take off the table and guarantee the income. That's the whole point of the thrift savings plan, retirement income. Let's do that. Let's duplicate a pension. That's what we call the private pension system within the war chest. So that's what our whole program will teach you. We're going to just dive right into saying, all right, what does it look like? We got an $800,000 TSP. What do you mean guarantee, protect the pension, create income? So I'm going to bring in Mike Seabolt, who is on our team at US Vet Wealth. Gosh, we've been working together for, almost a decade. And Mike is my private consultant to the industry, and essentially working with US Vet Wealth, you get access to Mike and all his resources. So we work as the kind of private, call it family office type approach, which was what wealthy people use, right? They don't have a financial advisor. They have consultants and teams and maybe even coaches if they need a little motivation on stuff. So we come more from that side of the house. That way we can work with advisors instead of trying to be your advisor. You make your own decisions. That's really, we're trying to, hey, you got a problem? Let's consult you on that. You need some motivation. Let's coach you on that. Okay, cool. Well, Mike, I got another screen here to share, but why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself in the meantime and anything you want to add on to my little diatribe there.
Yeah, thank you, Scott. Can you hear me all right?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. Well, this specific case you're talking about here arose from a conversation that I've had dozens of times. And the conversation was really around TSP. And the question I ask is, for what? What's the why? What's the goal? Why did you save the money in TSP? Almost invariably, the answer is because I didn't know what else to do. I put the money in there, and guy I spoke with yesterday, I've been putting money in this thing. He's 26 years in. He's finally getting out. And he's like, because that's what I was advised to do. And so he's accumulated a significant amount of money in there. And then I objective, like to your point earlier, do you care what it grows at? Do you care what it risks? What's your objective? And he's like, well, retirement income. And I said, well, what if we can guarantee that? What if we can remove the risk, remove the hope strategy, and just guarantee the income? Because that's what most people say. Most people say, look, I saved these dollars to ensure I can retire early and guarantee that that retirement is successful. And as we've seen, and actually one of our clients has recently pointed out, folks that retire with a guaranteed income stream generally have a more fruitful, happy, healthy, successful retirement because that risk is taken off the table. So if we can guarantee income and for those dollars that they've worked and saved, like I said yesterday, it's 26 years of saving those dollars. And so I worked with him on providing a solution to protect it. So that's what I love, having those conversations.
Absolutely. So when we're talking about protecting and defending income, again, what we talk about more in our strategy is, how do you go from the risky money world to the safe money world? Well, you go from the investment world to the insurance world. You usually don't have access to the insurance world from an equity standpoint until you start making more money and having higher wealth, your net worth. That's when it becomes more useful, more interesting. That's probably why you might not have heard about this before if you haven't yet. So we'll educate you on all that. So on the life insurance or the insurance product side of the house, the insurance industry side of the house specifically, there's dozens and dozens of insurance carriers. You've heard all the names, and there's even more products available out there. And the specific product we're talking about today is the annuity and the fixed indexed annuity. And an annuity is just a stream of income. Your pension, your military pension, your VA disability, those are all just annuities. So you put in time and service and sacrifice to earn those annuities. Here, you put in an asset to create an annuity. Now, there's a lot of myths and misconceptions about annuities out there. So we'll talk about some of those in our program, of course, to make sure you understand that, hey, there was a dial-up phone and then there's the iPhone. So there have been improvements. We don't have to just assume that the way it was 10 years ago is, what you're going to run into just because somebody made a YouTube video about it. So again, let's. So anyway, so we'll talk about that as well. But let me bring up this other screen here, and you can just tell me where you want me to. There we go. And
perfect. Yeah, make that a little bit bigger for us. So as Scott referenced, our firm represents 70, 80 different insurance companies and hundreds of products. And so my objective is to kind of canvas that landscape, look at all the options out there and arrive at the ones that most meet the needs of our clients. So this company here, Athene Life Insurance Company in Des Moines, been around for a long, long time, and they're sort of the leader in this indexed annuity space. So what is indexed annuity? So the index part is meaningful, meaning the dollars we save and invest, the TSP dollars will say that we transfer over from TSP. Again, that transfer is not a taxable event. It's just one bucket to another bucket. Both are tax deferred. So that's where the transfer occurs. And then once those dollars are transferred in, we always maintain control of that asset. So we can walk away at any time. But what most folks use this for, as I touched on earlier, is, hey, I want to retire early. I want to retire in 10 years. I want these dollars to sit and grow. And then when I'm ready to pull the plug, when I'm ready to flip the switch, I know I am contractually guaranteed a paycheck for these dollars for the rest of my life. So that's the big picture here. So the number one story we like about this product, no downside market risk. Our value grows based on the global financial markets, but there's a floor rate, a guaranteed minimum of 0. So that's the first thing to point out. When the markets go up, we get most of the upside. When the markets go down, we have 0. We do not lose. So that's our worst case year, is that. The second thing we like about this product is the income is guaranteed for lifetime. So for the rest of your life, and we see the numbers that'll come in, but once you decide to determine that income switch on, that check will come to you indefinitely until you pass away or your spouse passes away. So that's kind of the big picture. Again, no market risk, good growth, 4 to 6, 5 to 7% growth average, maybe a little bit better, and 0 market risk. And then again, that guaranteed lifetime income. So this product does all that for us. And so this is one of the options we're looking at for one of our clients. Yeah, so go ahead and go down to the couple of pages there. We're just going to kind of cut to the chase. So this is all the index options that we have available to us with this specific product. So just to keep in mind, once again, the dollars never go in the market. The dollars are safe and protected in the general account of the insurance company. There's hundreds of millions of dollars in that general account. But the growth is based on different indexes. And here's several indexes managed by several well-known banks like Bank of America, UBS, BNP Paribas. And those are indexes that we use and we're allocated to. So that's really where the dollars or growth is based upon. There's also, as you see on the bottom down there, a substantial bonus on this contract. It's a 36% bonus. So that's a significant amount of money that goes into the income value. That guarantees a substantial income in the future. And then that's the product that we use all the time for folks that are looking for, hey, listen, I want to retire early. I got these dollars I've saved and scrimped for 20, 25 years. I've got this TSP, 200, 300, 700, $800,000. I've saved all this. Now I want to make sure I get income. So we're going to skip down to a couple of pages, go down to like 8 or 9. I'll tell you when to stop. Keep going. There we go. So this particular client, there we go. Go up a little bit. So he's a younger guy, 48 years old. And so he's looking to retire at 60. So at age 60, he said, hey, Mike, how much income will I start getting off this bucket of money when I hit age 60? And that first year's income, it's on the left side there, that's $146,000. That's year one. And what you'll notice is that income amount is going up every year. So anytime, this is another interesting story, and I think very important, anytime there's growth in this contract, 1%, 10%, 24%, whatever it is, anytime the growth is positive, the income goes up. So it's an increasing income. And it never goes down and it never goes backwards because we have that 0 floor, the no same income as you get the previous year or more. And that income is fully guaranteed for a lifetime. So if you go to the next page, you'll see that in his mid-70s or so, the values on the right-hand side go to zero. When those values go to zero, what does that mean? That means we've put in this case, just under $800,000. We've taken out $4.9 million in income. At that point, there's no more value in the account. But what's important is that annual income stream has not stopped. It continues. And now we're at $500,000 a year of income for this guy down the road. Now, this is, 35 years from now. But that income, even when the account value goes to zero, that income is fully guaranteed for as long as you live. So if you look at the cumulative number, I mean, it's a gigantic number. It's $30 million, I think. I can't see really well, but it's a big number over his lifetime. He put in $800,000. So what we love about this story is, once again, no downside risk. Number two, income guaranteed for life with increasing. So anytime we have growth, the income goes up. And number three, again, there's that surrender value column. So go up one more page for me. There you go. So you'll notice that the surrender value, the cash surrender value on the right-hand side, and that's a walk away. So at any time, you can say, look, I don't want this thing anymore. I'm just going to take the $1.7 million in the 8th year and put it in my pocket and walk away. You can do that. So you're not locked in. You're not giving up control of the asset, which is important. And then conversely, or in the same vein, if you were to pass away early, so not live a long time, God forbid you get hit by the proverbial bus, that death benefit column on the far right is paid to your family. So again, the dollars go in, we don't lose control. It's either paid out as guaranteed lifetime income, or if we're predeceased for whatever reason, the money goes to our family, but we know contractually one way or another we get the benefit of it. So that's really what we love about it. What I love the story is we are protecting this hard-earned, hard-saved asset. A lot of times for a lot of these guys, this is their biggest asset, aside from their pension, which is truly their biggest asset, but their biggest, call it liquid asset. And 15, 20, 25, 26 years of saving and investing. And God, like to your point, why take the market risk if we don't have to? Why not get good growth, but no downside? And why not guarantee that income stream for life? And so that feels good to be able to do that for people. Scott?
Awesome. Well, thanks. No, that was definitely what we wanted to do, is just show that, hey, down and dirty, how does this product work? The key here is this first 10 years. The fact that we're contractually agreeing with the insurance carrier to let that account marinate, and we're doing this on the insurance side of things. So there's not volatility in the stock market. This isn't some sort of hedge fund where you're trying to get returns, in the next quarter that are going to be, way outdated, but there's always going to be risk. Like, we know risk is off the table, but what we're giving up is 10 years to allow some guarantees, because the insurance company knows that if you stick with them for 10 years, they've been at this for decades and decades. They just know from their client base, that's kind of their, that's why it's called Agility 10, right? They have different time frames, right? So they give you different options. We're just showing one particular version of it. Can you talk a little bit on that?
Yeah, of course. So this is one product for one type of client. Again, we've got hundreds of products for different type of client scenarios. As Scott knows, for clients that are under age 50, because of that 10-year waiting period prior to turning on the lifetime income, for your 50 or younger, this is my go-to product for all the reasons we talked about. But what if you're older? What if you're 60 or 58 or 65? And you want to start taking that lifetime income sooner? I would too if I were you. So we have other products where you can start taking income immediately. You fund it and start the income to day one. So it depends on the need. It depends on the objective. It depends on the scenario. It's very dependent in that regard. But we design it what makes the most sense for you guys. The other thing I want to touch on is that surrender value column once again. Yes, there's a 10-year waiting period, quote unquote, before turning on that lifetime income benefit. However, you have access to 10% of the surrender value during any time, year 1, year 3, year 7. So it's not like the dollars are completely locked up for that 10. You have 10%. So if you look at the math there, year 4, we have $1 million. That's $100,000 of liquidity if they need it. So it's not completely locked up. And by the way, you can always surrender. You can always say, hey, look, I put 500 or 800 in, I got $1.7 million 8 years later. I'm just going to walk away. So those are options as well. But again, why people do this is the peace of mind of having that lifetime guaranteed income in retirement. That's just
Right.
that's the story.
And that's why it fits so well with the military retiree. Hey, this is your biggest asset, but you got the time to spare. You don't need the money. That 10-year time frame, anyways, is what we hear most retirees telling us. I just want to know that I can, whatever it is, I'll work hard these next 10 years, but whatever I can save, combine that with my military pension. What does it take to feel good? To know that I could maybe even retire earlier. And that's what we can with the safe money strategy. If you're in a position where you've already got TSP, if you're not there yet, we've got strategies to get you there. But this is just a scenario where it's like, all right, here's a way just to take all that stress off the table. You're saying, you combine my 06 pension, and then I can just create a new pension with this and plop it on top. Yes, there's going to be tax situations we got to take care of. We can't necessarily remove the tax status, but that's yet another strategy. But we'll talk about that another time. But no, cool, Mike. Well, I think that hits our main points for today on this first session, and I know you're obviously on the road, so appreciate you stopping here to do this with us. But hey, if you're watching this video, one thing I do want to show with you, when we go back to share my other screen real quick. They should make hot buttons. Again, kind of that 10-year strategy. That's why we call this the 10-year war chest, because that's our, for lack of a better term, the dream outcome is just saying, no, I did it right. Do I have enough money? How can I, feel confident on that? And so that's what we're always going to come back to. That if your timeline's different, we'll obviously adjust. But that's kind of our dream outcome. But one other thing I wanted to share real quick is if you are what we're doing right now is we're presenting this new program. It's not sharing again. There we go. A new program where we're just giving away, like I said earlier, we want to be useful. That's where we've got all the knowledge out there. But we know oftentimes you're not someone to watch a bunch of videos or read books and all that. Or even if you have, you don't want to go out and do it yourself to crunch all the numbers. So I've got space to do probably another 5 of these in the rest of the month of September. So if you'd like to fill one of those spots, again, this is absolutely free, but I'll help you answer all the main questions. Real quick, it takes about 30 minutes max. But what I want to focus on is getting you the questions you need answered about survivor benefit plan from the should I keep it or not, decision. We won't talk about our strategy and what to do with it. This is more about what are your probabilities based on your birthdays, timelines, health statuses, and what are the actual numbers? What's the value of your pension and the various costs involved? So you can be now thinking about, again, it all comes down to income and numbers. So when you are going for that job interview or negotiation for salary and benefits, wouldn't it be better? Wouldn't it give you more power if you had audited all your military benefits decisions? Because you might actually have more financial things going for you than you realize, meaning maybe you can take some more flexibility on the next career and don't have to sacrifice something that's meaningful to you or location just to get an extra few $1,000s a year. So we want to give you all the ammo you need to do that. A lot of people stress over this stuff. They're trying to learn about all sorts of insurances and probabilities and reading all these websites. I can answer most of the numbers. The emotional side of this is another thing. How you explain it to your spouse, we've got materials to help with that side of this too. But the number crunching is actually quite easy. And so we could just take that off the table for you, do this audit. And then, like I said, if you look like you'd be a good fit to work with us on one of our strategies, it doesn't have to necessarily look like the one we just showed you. but we'll let you know, and we can talk more about that. But obviously, you'll be able to access our other materials inside the Military Retirement Blueprint along the way. But
yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I'm going to reiterate that as well, because I think it's meaningful. We lean heavily into the education side, right? That is our objective here. We know our solutions add value. We know we protect families. We know that when we provide all the stories, at the end of the day, it comes back to what's more important to you and your family. And we feel we've got adequate solutions to address that. So that's what we're excited about, is really educating you guys. I mean, listen, 25 years of service, saving, investing. TSP is X, SBP is X. What can we do with those? How can we maximize all that time that you spent serving the country and make sure you, again, are rewarded in retirement? So love to do that stuff. And again, we lean heavily into the education. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So here's just a quick look at our education program that we take clients through to whatever level they need it, right? But we'll be bringing all this out in the coming weeks. So really excited about that. But if you would like to do the audit, hit me up in the comments, message me, shoot me an email, scott@usvetwealth.com, and we'll take care of you. All right. Well, thanks for joining. We've had a few people watching on LinkedIn and Facebook as well.
Cool.
So that's cool. I haven't seen Facebook users in a while. I've been on Facebook in years. All right, guys.
Scott, thank you.
Thanks, Mike. Enjoy your day.